So fortunate are we that we're able to have a connection to people on such a tremendously high spiritual level. And it's really personal pleasure of mine to be able to learn this with you, because these men are actually helping us to connect ourselves to eternity. And here it is, the ultimate connection with God. We just heard in the previous shir, Rabbi R.B.A. Kaplan, and he really waxed beautifully poetic about what the real meaning of Judaism is. And this is great for all different kinds of people. We'd like everybody to know about that. Now we're coming over to Rabbi Mimran. And we had a little break yesterday. I didn't get a chance to look at this. He left me with the thought of beauty. And this is the beginning of a Kabbalistic idea that everybody should know about. Is that if you say the word beauty, he said, multiple times while you're looking, say like my wife has these beautiful roses that she likes, a certain color that is her color. And if you look at it, they're really beautiful. If you look at it long enough, you could transpose your thinking and start saying the words beautiful, 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 beautiful. And as you do this, Rabbi Mimran said, it starts making the beauty much more transparent to you. You start connecting with the beauty that's in there. Now, this is the beginning of an idea, a Kabbalistic idea, when we start to talk about meditations, because this, in fact, was and is a meditation. Now, we go to a different place. This is part 13. And we're moving to another section of the book. We're going to be there a few more shiurim, and that section is much more practical. So let's see what it says over here. This is the Shloah Kodesh, Parsha Zekev. He says like this. On this it is said, and you are the ones who cleave to Hashem, your God. You are all alive. This verse encapsulates within it all of the Torah and actions and character traits and ways of man, all for his sake. Now, let me read this one more time. He says like this, and you are the ones who cleave to Hashem. This is what we're talking about. This is Hashem, your God. Now, we understand that we translate this word Hashem and your God, that actually the words for this is Hashem. This is abbreviation for Yud Kei Vav Kei, Elokechem, and then another word for God also, Elokechem. Let's look at the word Elokem, like that, your God. So it's Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the one that really connects you through this word Elokechem. Now let's see what it says again. He says, and you are the ones who cleave to Hashem, your God. You are the ones. You are all alive. Those who cling to Hashem. Why? Because Hashem is the formula for eternity. This verse encapsulates within it all of the Torah and actions and character traits and ways of man. Now, what? All for his sake. That is, for the sake of heaven. Now, what do we actually get out of this? And let's read Rabbi Mimran. When you experienced those moments of attachment, you likely didn't realize that you were briefly in a state of no-mind connection. This is because the gap between that state and the influx of thought was too narrow. Your aha moment may only have lasted for a few seconds before the mind came in. But you know what? It was there. Otherwise, you would not have experienced the beauty. Mind can neither recognize nor create beauty. Only for a few seconds, while you're completely there, with that beauty or that sacredness also there. Due to the narrowness of that gap, though, in other words, it sounds like we're always surrounded by this ego mind that is constantly around us. We're in a world that's dangerous. I understand that. I think Rabbi Mimran understands that. But we have to be able to see that actually the beauty is in all things. It's not easy. Due to the narrowness of that gap and a lack of vigilance and alertness on your part, you were probably unable to see the fundamental difference between the perception, the thoughtless awareness of beauty, and the naming and interpreting of it as thought. See, once you put a name on it, then already you've removed it you're making it much more physical. Now, this is a concept that's Malchus, actually, which has physicality to it. And so that you're taking it out of the higher realm, and you're making it something physical, something reasonable, something reachable. And the naming and interpretation of it as thought, the time gap was so small that it seemed to be a single process. Let me just see if I can say what I think happens to me. Is that I might have a tremendous insight in prayer, let's say, for example. And then I start thinking about that insight. That already you lose it. So this is the game. The wider the time gap between perception and thought, the more depth there is to you as a human being, which is to say, the more conscious you are. Many people are so imprisoned in their minds that the beauty of nature does not really exist for them. They might say, what a nice day today, but it's just a mechanical, mental label. So you said, what a nice day today. Since they are not still and aware, they don't truly see the godliness in nature. This is what he's talking about. And we're going to see Rabbi Nachman later. He says the same words, but they're coming from completely different traditions. Rabbi Mimran is not a Breslover. He's Sephardi. Was Zoch to have his English-speaking Sephardi. So they don't truly see the godliness in nature, don't feel its essence, its holiness, just as they don't know themselves, don't feel their own essence, their own holiness. We live in such a mind-dominated culture that it is really of no surprise that people's perceptions have been dulled by the static of their own minds. How do we get out of it? That's the whole thing. As long as one cannot free oneself from the mind's clatter, one surely will not be in touch with that place within, I think there's a period there, or comma, should be, where true creativity and beauty arise. So he says this is a tip for aspiring artists. So this is interesting because Rabbi Mimran is talking really about what we need to be able to do is tap into the creative brain, not the arguing brain, not the figuring out and the calculating brain, not the feeling brain, but the beautiful brain. So let's read his words again, and we'll conclude. As long as one cannot free himself from the mind's clatter, one surely will not be in touch with that place within where true creativity and beauty arise. So he says this is a tip for aspiring artists. So now he writes again in his little blurb, I love his blurb. Many people are so imprisoned in their minds that the beauty of nature does not really exist for them. This is Baruch Fleischman. I'm here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and what a privilege it is as we keep going on a roll to these great, great people who are bringing us in English tremendous bits of Torah.